Nice to see everybody online again. And let me just bring on the PPT. Okay. All right. So welcome to our weekly review. I think it's truly wonderful every day that we have this privilege to be able to hear Master talk and to be able to hear how Master was able to combine daily happenings in her day, in her encounters with people, and combine this with the Dharma that's in the sutra. And the most amazing thing is, you know, Master always talks about the things that happened the day before, whether it's today talking about the Master went into great lengths talking about the handicrafts that were made by our volunteers from the central part of Taiwan. Or in many cases, you know, there will be the previous day happened and then Master would talk about it. And everything seems so perfectly woven together. You know, today it was talking about burning of the hands, and so talks about using the hands to make all these crafts and the such. And then in other places, other times it would be the same. And you would almost be wondering, how is it possible that, you know, whatever happened the day before, it happened to match, you know, the content of the sutra that Master was going to talk about on the next day, right? And then you realize it's not that the things that match the sutra, it's the sutra that's part of our lives. And obviously everything matches, you know, it works because it's supposed to be interconnected already. It's not like you had to wait for the one thing to match the other. It's the same thing. Okay, so I think it's always a wonder, you know, to be able to hear Master talk and you go like, oh yeah, that's how the things get connected. And it's all these moments that makes you realize that we're so blessed to be able to hear and to listen to Master talk. And so today I wanted to a true tribute to Master as what she had done for us, and a tribute to Master. And I wanted to make this short so that we can get into questions. I think I say this every week, but I do want to get into the questions, more questions. I prepared them already. So let us dive into today's the content. Okay, so we talked about hang on. I wonder if you're seeing the right thing. Hang on. Let me just do this again. Okay, so going back into the PPT again. Okay, so last week we talked about the chapter 23, former deeds of Bodhisattva Medicine King, and we talked about that the Bodhisattva offered himself to his teacher. At the time was the Buddha, sun, moon, pure, bright future. And he covered his body with divine jewel garments and also the fragrant oil. And then he set his body alight. And we talked about, Master said that this wasn't the common fire. And the body isn't the physical body that we know. It's a vow from the transcendent power. And that burning itself, it's an act of giving of self, the giving of your body, the giving up of the notion of self, the giving up of your body, the attachment to the body. It's more of a representation. It is not exactly the act of burning itself, right? So the same thing, it's the two voices in your head. One is the self and one is your conscious. They're both conscious, but one is in the subconscious and the other one is more of a reason, the voice of reason. And so we're talking about how to balance the two and how to give power to the one that is the reason and lesser of the one that talks about yourself. You know, we talked about the two voices inside you. One of the voice that tells you that it's okay to eat ice cream because you only have it once a week, and that is okay. But the voice of reason, the voice of logic tells you that even if it's once a week, it is not okay. Why is it not okay? It's not just the sense of health, but you're trying to build up this momentum. You're trying to weed out all the bad things that you're trying not to eat, right? It's not giving into indulgence and not giving into bodily pleasure. And that's something that you could, you know, try to train yourself, right? So it's about the balancing of the two voices, the balancing of the things that's in your mind, and understanding that the attachment, the overly attachment to self is a hindrance to wisdom. And how do you break through? And we talked about fire. This fire of wisdom and transcendental vow is an external force. For example, when we're out and about helping other people, we usually tend to forget to tend to ourselves. We sleep less, and that was okay. We eat less, and that was okay. We eat things that are not as tasty, and that was okay. However, when we're back to the normal times, when we do that, and that is not okay, we have to, you know, eat with style, we have to eat with certain flavor, and that is not okay. So usually it is very important that fire and the external force is important to let us let go, right? And then there is an inner fire, which is the profound insight, to train the voice of reason and wisdom and give it more power, so that when you're debating in your mind, like, should I wake up today to go to the morning Dharma talk, or maybe it's okay for me to sleep in so that I can have more energy to do more things later on, you know, the voice of what we need to do and what we should do will ring louder and be able to have more persuasion over yourself. And that's why Master always says, be mindful. Don't let the subconscious, the one that talks about minding about self more, win over the arguments all the time. Okay, so that was what we talked about last week. Now this week, we're still remaining in chapter 23. And I think this chapter brings so much insight into so many things, right? The relationship between the master and the disciple. You know, we heard about the story where the disciple, after having reincarnated, right, come back to this world and went to see the Buddha again. We see many stories and their interactions and all of that. And today I wanted to focus on one thing, is the sincerity, especially the most sincere offering. And this is something that I want to get to because last Monday, right, the Monday that just passed, I did this sharing about Bodhisattva gladly seen by all sentient beings, the gratitude and the offering. We talked about it last week about the burning, right? But this Monday, the one that just passed, I did this sharing about what Master talked about on July 6th. And Master talked about how she explained that this burning, right, that was very close to her. And she said that she must explain and share with all of us because she had the same feeling of wanting to offer herself, offer the body to the Buddha, the most sincerity. So that's what Master said on July 6th. Master said that she bear witness to the feeling and the feeling that the Dharma is in heart, and giving of self to reverently offer to the Buddha with the utmost sincerity. So because in the sutra, it talks about this offering, and Master wanted to share with us that this is true. Don't just look at it as, oh yeah, it's part of the story, but this is true. And Master offered herself in terms of bearing witness and sharing it with us. And she said, such sincerity cannot be described. It is very genuine, full of reverence, the heart, full of reverent heart to offer to the Buddha and the sutra. Okay, and she explained to us, it's not just the words. You can read it in the sutra. You can read it on the transcript of the morning Dhamma talk, but it's more than just that. But Master said, what can I offer? Only with my body. I did all of this with the mere hope to have the Dharma in my heart, so that in the future, I can properly propagate the teachings and teach all of that from the Lotus Sutra. That was the vow back then. And that was the part that I share on Monday. Okay, so on every Monday, I have a chance to share a little bit of how I felt and what we all learned and in the presence of Master. That's what I said on that day, okay, on the Monday. What Master said on July 6th. And that was my understanding, and that was my most reverence. You know, I shared and I felt that really moved me, because all that Master wanted was very simple. There was a hope that in the future that she could propagate this teaching And so the teachings from the Lotus Sutra can be shared, can be learned by all people. That was all that she wanted at the time, back in the wooden cabin. Okay, that was it. With such simple and sincerity, look at where we are now, 55 years later, that we are learning the very teachings in the Lotus Sutra. The vow from 55 years ago is now continuing now. So that when I share on Monday what I heard and how I felt after the July 6th morning Dharma talk, and I share with my understanding and utmost reverence, and I got this response from the Master. So after our parts are done, Master gave us a talk afterwards in response to all the sharings that we gave on Monday, in specifically to the part that I just talked about. This is what Master said, and I want to share with you. It goes even deeper. So on July 13th, that's the Monday, right? The Monday I shared, and the Monday Master talked. So Master said this: indeed, burning as an offering, it can't be described with words. It was a genuine experience. And she continued to recount what exactly she did. Master said, as I burned the spots on the arms and the chest, Master explained, I had to let it burn for the duration of the incense and let it burn through the skin. It was very, very clear. And I remember as I was listening to this, goosebumps and all the feelings everybody was drawn into every word. It was so quiet. No one was making a sound. It was only Master taking us back to her experience and going through the entire duration. And I could feel the tingly feelings. And I have tears rolling down my cheek because it wasn't sad. It was more of, I could see and I could feel. Okay, so Master said, such burn through the flesh and the pain. To let the burn cease on its own. It wasn't like you had to put it out. The burn has to continue and only cease on its own. And it didn't end with that. Master said, I didn't put on any burn medication after that. It just let it be. Okay, why? Master said it was painful. And I waited until the dead tissues formed a scar. And she would pick open the scar to observe the unprotected flesh underneath. And she explained that was the observation, very much like the candles. And that was going into the candles, which we heard many times. Master said, when you blow out the candle, you can see the very thin layer very quickly form over the candle. And so she compared the two. When she picked open the scar, the unprotected flesh underneath came in contact with the air, and it pains horrifically. It hurts. And that was the idea. So Master said, I wanted to experience the pain of birth. It's not the pain of giving birth, that's the mother, but the pain of birth. When we came to this world, when our skin first came in contact with the air, because we have all forgotten about that feelings. And in the sutras, Master said she read such offerings from the Buddha. And because Master said, I had nothing to offer at the time, I had nothing at the time. So there was many things that happened, right? So she talked about her experience burning. She talked about how the pain it felt. She talked about the unprotected flesh underneath the scar. Just like when we came into this world, the entire body was unprotected flesh. And the first time it came in contact with the air, it's the same hurt, the feelings that she got right there when the scar was picked open and the air come in contact with the unprotected flesh. Why? Because we all forgotten about it. We didn't remember how it felt. No one remembered how it felt when we were born. And she wanted to experience that, right? And then she carried on to the next. That was a way of offering to realize, to bear witness to the actual pain that Buddha wanted us to understand, right? So Master said, I read it in the Lotus Sutra of the offering of the body. So with my body, my heart, truthfully, genuinely, and sincerely, because at the time, Dharma was in my heart. My heart was in Dharma, and neither separated from each other. It was one. That was powerful. That Master was talking about at that time. And it wasn't talking about just the time of the burning. It was talking about the 6 months in the small wooden cabin. So now we spoke of our mind, Buddha, and all sentient beings are no different. It is indeed very truthful. There's no difference. I remember back then at the small wooden cabin, the days of diligence at the cabin. And she remembered that. And the days were much, much simpler. I had nothing, but it was much simpler. And everything was at ease and no worries of anything and no attachments. As opposed to now, where Master constantly think about happens in the future, happens right now in the world, every place, the suffering. It's not that the heart wasn't at ease, but there was an apprehension. There was always worry about the sufferings of the sentient beings. Okay, so that was Master's response. Obviously, Master talked for much longer, but I got this excerpt out of that day's talk because I wanted to show how different things are now. So Master shared with us, what did she actually share with us? She shared with the journey, right? So starting from the beginning, because what we see is what's happening now. Okay, what we see is what's happening now. But not many of us knew the journey. Not many of us knew the story. Or we only know parts of the story. Like we know parts of the Bodhisattva that burned himself. Or we know the parts of the Bodhisattva now that burned both of his arms. We know parts of this, but we didn't understand the whole thing. We didn't understand what it meant. We didn't understand what it represented. So now Master shared with us the journey, that in the very intimate details of the burning and the why and the process and the realization, okay, the growth and the realization of this journey, right? So that we can stand on her shoulders and continue this journey. And I think this is very important, right? We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to redo this process. We don't need to feel and experience the pain to understand that. Just like right now, we don't have to reinvent the light bulb. Like Thomas Edison, we can use the light bulb and continue our journey beyond that. If everybody has to go through the light bulb reinvention again, then it would be very difficult to have progress. What Master is trying to do is, I've done this already, and I've shared with you the pain. It's not necessary for all of us to understand and go through the pain, to go through the pain again, but it's very essential for us to understand the pain and to realize what it means so that we could continue that journey forward rather than staying and reinvent the wheel. So this is the gift that we have been received. Same thing as the Lotus Sutra. The Lotus Sutra tells us the most offering, the most sincere offering. Now we understand this. Have we received the gift? Have we received the wisdom? And Master one time shared with us that why are we so grateful for the suffering of the world? Why are we thanking the people that we're helping? It should be them thanking us. Because Master said that it was them that showed the face of suffering, the forms of suffering, so that we could understand suffering without being in the situation where we are the one suffering. We could go and see them and then retreat to our pure land or retreat to our world, retreat to our homes in the relatively comfortable confines that we are able to learn and understand from the suffering. If you're constantly in the state of suffering, it will be very, very difficult for you to learn from it. So it is good, it is important for us to know of the suffering and be in the suffering for a little bit and then retreat and be able to have realizations and enlightenment from that. So it is important to stand on her shoulders and learn from what she had taught us and to experience the suffering, but periodically, not entirely, and be able to walk from there. So this is something that I think is a way to encourage us that yes, she did this, but no, she's not encouraging all of us to do the same, because we need to go from there and learn more from there. So now that she shared with us her journey, her story, her growth and realization, have we received this gift? Have we received this wisdom? Have we received and built on that to continue our journey forward? That I think is very important. So from my sharing about Master's sharing, Master responded with more talk, understanding the journey itself, wanting everybody to know more about the details so that we can understand and progress from that point on. And I think that was very important. That's how every generation is able to go beyond just that. So every step of the journey, we have to uncover more things. Sometimes it's an act. Sometimes it's through an action. Sometimes it's through a realization of something that happened, something that hit us so big that we realize. And that day, Monday, that Monday afternoon, I sat there with tears down my cheek because it was so touching. Like you could feel the pain and you could feel the joy when Master shared about the time that she had in the wooden cabin. And that was the key for us to understand, to connect us to the pain so that we didn't have to, but we can go from there. But I'm sure eventually, one of these lifetimes, we're going to go through this experience. We're going to go through the understanding ourselves. But at this time, there will come a time when we ourselves will experience that suffering and pain. But Master said, we should be grateful that we're able to experience it with this distance so that we understand, but we just got enough of it so that we have to digest it and be able to sort of being able to realize the wisdom and the knowledge within. Okay, so I wanted to go into the questions and contemplations as always. I think this question's talking about the 8 appearances. We talked about it last week, but it came up again, so I wanted to go through it again. Right, there are the 8 forms and the 8 stages of Buddha's enlightenment, and essentially it was from when the Buddha was still in the heavens training, okay, and then giving birth and as a form of a child, and then younger days, and then the cultivation, and then enlightenment, and then now turning the Dharma wheel, the 7th appearance, turning the Dharma wheel and letting people understand and share the Dharma, and then finally ending the life. Okay, so the reason for the 8 appearances is to show that we can do the same too, right? We are now training and we are now having a new birth, right? It's not just the birth of the physical body, but training and then giving birth, a new day begins. And now your new day begins, you are learning, cultivating, and then understanding, and then sharing. And eventually goes the day ends, or the form ends, and it goes anew again. And I really think that the 8 appearances, more so than anything, bring us closer to the Buddha, is to share with us that we have the same cycle too. Sometimes we're stuck somewhere. Sometimes we cannot make the leap somewhere. But these 8 forms actually tell us that we're doing this every day. The birth is just the birth of another day, the birth of an idea, the birth of not just your physical body, not when you're born, but rather it's a new day, a new idea, a new vow, and it goes through the same cycle again and again and again. So it tells you that we're closer to the Buddha than we actually understand, than we actually give us credit for, okay? So the Bodhisattva path is complete in this era by Tzu Chi, and this also was answered last week, but I wanted to go back to it again. And I think that in the past, the conditions were not there. Buddha was talking and teaching the Dharma, but it wasn't ripe and wasn't ready, right? The world is big, but you can only talk about stories that relates to people. You can't show people what's really happening in the world in other places. Rather, now we can. Now we can use real stories of the real people, of the real now, the present stories. It's not just hearsay. It's not, I say this or I talk about the past life where nobody can see. And you have to talk more, metaphorically. Now it's all real. Master's talking about the people coming yesterday. And it really happened. They came yesterday. They came with all their crafts about the things they made, the shoes, the hats, and the stories. They're all real, right? So now the conditions are right. Paths are open, roads are paved, everything is ready. That's the key. But are we ready, right? Everything is ready for us. The Dharma is here, the path is paved, the path is open, the roads are paved. Are you ready? And that's the key. So once again, every teaching, you have to draw it back to ourselves and our lives, okay? So on June 9th, see, we're so far behind. We're still answering the past questions from the June 9th. The mention talks about the 3 wheels of emptiness. Is it the same 3 spheres of emptiness? And the answer is the same. It is the same. However, it is not talking about the actual thing that we're given. It was actually the giver, the receiver, the gift of the Dharma. And it was talking about do not be attached to, you are the giver of Dharma and you're the receiver of Dharma and you're giving Dharma. And this is very similar to the same question that we're going to answer next, right? The 3 wheels of emptiness, right? So thanks to the translation team who was trying very hard to translate this. It took me several chances to reread the Chinese to understand what Master was talking about. And let me show you the actual words, okay? These are the actual words from Master. It was talking about the cultivating, the practicing of the 6 paramitas, and was talking about the 无所行. What does that actually mean? What it actually means in Chinese, okay? So if you want to take some time to read it, but in Chinese, what it actually means is you are practicing the 6 paramitas without practicing the 6 paramitas. That's true practicing. What does that really mean? It means that you are not thinking about doing the 6. And that's the true practicing. That's all what it says. Okay, so that's where the emptiness comes in. That's where the 3 wheels of emptiness comes in. You are not actively thinking, now I'm doing the first paramita I'm giving. Now I'm doing the second. Now I'm doing the 6th. Oh, I'm missing the 5th. No, it's something that tells you the progress. But it's not something that you go like, today I'm going to practice the 4th. Tomorrow I'm going to do the 5th. No, eventually, and that's how it should be, that you would be doing these without thinking these. And that's the true emptiness you're talking about. That's what the true, the formlessness, okay? The true practice of the Dharma is really talking about. It's doing this without doing this, right? It's like you're breathing without actively telling yourself you're breathing. It's like, you're coming here, you're doing Tzu Chi, and you don't say, I'm doing charity. No, you're doing charity plus medicine. You're doing charity plus education. You're doing all these things at the same time. You don't say, today I'm going to do charity, tomorrow I'm going to do medicine. It's all practicing all 4 missions without actually thinking about practicing the 4 missions. That's what it means, the 3 wheels of emptiness. Quickly going through this. When I joined Tzu Chi, I would be able to share Tzu Chi with everyone everywhere I go. But upon certification, I'm becoming more selective and less courageous. Examples about vegetarianism. I am not so much asking everyone, but only with people with affinity. And this is what I'm going to say to you. Sharing should not stop. Whether you're certified or not, sharing is something that whether you're certified, whatever uniform you put on, it should not stop. Sharing is an act of loving and compassion because you love the people. That's why you share, because you care. That's why you share what you know, because you realize and you believe, like me, you believe that sharing helps people. That's why you do it, right? And it should not stop, but rather hearing what you said, it should be upgraded. Before you're certified, you share this, but after you're certified, it should be upgraded. Now you know much more, you should share selectively. Not less in frequency. When I say selective, I don't mean less. Oh, I only share selectively to these people. No, selectively as in the content. Not selective in the frequency, but more in selectivity according to the capacity and the situation and need. That's what you need to do. So rather than saying less to people, you should say to the same people that you are talking to, but the content should now be more selective. And that's what we should do. So sharing should not stop, but it should be upgraded. It's more selective but not less in frequency, but more selective in the situation and need. Last question. Should it be last question? Okay. So how can someone who is on cultivation of the Dharma remain unwholesome in one's character? How can this? Yes, we're all like this, okay? We are on the path of cultivation and we're still not very wholesome, okay? So for example, a remark uttered by someone hurt the listener and almost sever the thought of to continue the vision. You know, this happens. And unfortunately, this is the problem, right? So saying hurtful words is a function of the seventh consciousness. If you believe that we all meant well, then that comes from the sixth. We all meant well, but sometimes we say hurtful things because it comes back, right? You feel hurt, then you want to fight back, you want to hit back, and then it comes out right away before your mind really are mindful of the things you say. So being hurt by saying hurtful words is a function of the seven. Being hurt by these words is also the function of the seventh consciousness. The sixth one is allows you through logic and reason, process. If you process it, if you're mindful, you are not going to say hurtful things. If you're calm and you're not overtaken by anger, you're going to say the right things to calm the situation. But usually we're not. We're overtaken by anger. That's the seven. They will come out and they will fight back. Same thing. You're very sensitive. You're very self-aware. So when somebody say things that they don't mean that way, but you're taking it that way. Why? Your logic isn't there. You're taken by the very true notion of self. It takes it. I think they're talking about me. I think they're talking about bad things about me behind my back. I am hurt. That's also something that's driven by the seventh consciousness. So we need to have the wisdom of profound insight. The logic, the reason, the voices in your mind, the sixth one, that we can train to persuade yourself that no, they're not talking about bad things behind your back, or if they're saying bad things about you, that's something that you need to learn. So toughen up and suck it up. We have to be tough and learn. Or don't say the things to hurt them because you know that's not going to be good affinity and only bad things will come from it. So the only thing we need to say is constructive things. That's logic and reason and profound insight taking over. Not letting the inner voice of self, the selfishness, the need to protect yourself come out and fight back. Okay, so that's what I feel is very important. So even though we're cultivating, we're still letting that voice raging in our mind. So we're still losing the battle, but I'm hoping that we are gaining ground. That's what Master is sharing with us, that cultivation allows us to gain the ground. So move forward 3 steps. It's okay sometimes to fall back 1, but continue forward. And that's when the balancing will begin to shift in our favor of the wisdom. Okay, so that's my sharing for today. I wanted to get into more questions, but we'll do that next time. Okay, many questions left. Okay, so thank you so much. And now we're gonna give back to the centers for the sharing. Thank you.
And Brother Joe for such wonderful insights. And Brother Joe for creating the conditions for Master to share further on the experiences at this Yamu. Okay, today we have Brother Calvin, who will very diligent in walking the Bodhisattva path of charity and many other missions, always creating this field of blessings for many people. And and Brother Calvin is also known to be very filial. But today must be heard in the morning sermon. Master said, even the most blessed, we could not be away from this physical body. Today we will hear from Brother Calvin on this lessons of impermanence. Over to you, Brother Calvin.
Pardon, Sister Tzu Chi. Good morning, brothers and sisters, beloved Shifu, Brother Joe Huang. Today, I'll be share with you my encounter with impermanence and how I'm dealing with it. As most of you probably may have known by now, I was diagnosed with cancer early this year, and I have been undergoing treatment and am still undergoing treatment at the moment. What were my first thoughts and response when I knew I had cancer? I knew something was amiss when I started losing weight a lot last year, despite having a voracious appetite. My weight was still going down. I did not seek medical advice. I prolonged it, and I waited till middle of the year when I went for a full medical checkup. However, the medical checkup did not uncover anything adverse. I was kind of relieved, but deep down inside, I felt something is just not right because the weight was still going down. I was in denial, obviously, and I still prolonged and waited till year end before I thought, okay, I'll take some concrete action. I will go and see a dentist because my problems was regarding an ulcer in my tongue. And early this year, only did I went to consult a dentist. She looked very concerned and immediately asked me to go to see an oral surgeon without further delay. And yet, despite that advice, I delayed it till after Chinese New Year. I finally plucked up my guts to see an oral surgeon early this year, and after Chinese New Year, and he looked concerned again. And he asked me, "What do you think this is?" There's a silence in the room. I told him, "I suspect it's cancer." He didn't respond to me. I was wondering, why? And I felt, I felt strange, she said, "I think it's cancer." He didn't respond to me, and I said, let's do a biopsy. I immediately exclaimed, "I've been a vegetarian for 8 years now since becoming a Gen Z. I don't smoke, I don't drink. Why am I getting this cancer without confirmation of my cancer?" I was reacting immediately. He calmed me down. He told me, "Don't fret now. Let's do the biopsy first. Don't jump to conclusions. I can do a biopsy for you, but it's going to be very expensive during the year because I've gone to the private wing of the hospital because I needed to do my checkup immediately. I'll write a referral letter to you. Go over to the government site. You can do exactly the same thing, and we share the same facilities." And he wrote a referral letter to me. Out of the corner of my eye, I would catch certain words: suspected precancerous lesions, etc. A tear streaked down my cheeks. I was a bit emotional at that time. But then he says, I thank him anyway. I thank him for being so kind. And I walked across the ramp to have my biopsy done. Where there waiting for me was a young oral surgeon. And she spoke kind to me, calmed me down, and then said, "Is it okay if I do this biopsy in the presence of students?" And I said, "Okay, fine. It's fine with me. If students to learn something from it, why not?" So I walked to the next room, and there was about maybe 15 to 20 students in the room, and then the biopsy took place. She injected anesthetic into me. I felt I was in the hell realm, and even though I was anesthetized, I was conscious. I could still feel the cutting, and she cut into the pit of the tongue, and students were exclaiming, "Oh, there's so much blood!" Want to say, "Oh, there's a bit more here. You need to cut here," and all that. I was sweating. And before long, it was over. Suture was done. And then she told me, "Okay, come back in a week's time. I'll let you know the results." Who knows? It might be benign, I knew deep down inside it's not going to be benign. I've left it to fester for so long. I really regretted not having seek consultancy much earlier. I've delayed it for almost a year now. And there's nothing much I can do about it. Let me go back. And obviously, when I went back home, I didn't tell anybody. My mind was confused state. I was extremely worried. I had a week to think over what to do. And I've been the main pivot in the family since my own father passed away from cancer more than 15 years ago. And I'm currently looking after my 93 years old mother who has got dementia, and a 6 years old younger brother who has got who's mentally challenged. So I was really, really worried. Who is going to look after me? Who's going to look after them? Should I be hospitalized? Who's going to look after the well-being if the worst should happen to me. I was really in despair, and it was a week of sleepless night, worrying all the stuff. But over time, as the days passed by, I had a chance to reflect and to think about things. I'm 60, more than 6 years old. I've not even done a will. I've yet to share my plight with anybody. I've listened to Dharma all these years. Well, I can choose to be in despair, to be into depression, to feel the helplessness, but I decided, no, I need to take charge of this. I cannot let this carry on. I've listened to Dharma so many years. Why am I not applying Buddha Dharma in my challenging life now? Obviously, I reflected on karma. This is writing on my own karma. I have to accept it. I'm the owner of my own karma. Life is suffering. We all go through birth, old age, aging, sickness, and death. And I'm going through aging now and illness, and everything is impermanent. I have my great times in life, I have not so great times in life, and there's also duality. Unless I experience something really bad, how do I know what is really good? I've really contemplated on all these teachings of the Buddha over the years I've listened to, and finally it put a ease to my mind. I felt comfortable, I felt at ease, I felt good. I accepted my plight, my situation, and that helped me a lot. The acceptance of this situation of mine did help a lot. And so by the time I went back to see the doctor, the oral surgeon, in a week's time, when she broke the news to me, she was so shocked that I was so calm, so unperturbed, and so nonchalant. She asked, do you think you need a counselor? We have got support groups. I know if you need to, you should let this out, you should cry out, because that's usually the reaction from most patients who have been informed they have cancer. But I told her I'm okay. I've accepted the situation. I'm okay. What do I need to do next? Obviously, then she told me I would need to go for an MRI, a CT scan, I need to do a blood test, etc. So she's lined up all the things I needed to do in the next few weeks. So I went back home. Now that it's confirmed, I have cancer, I need to inform my other siblings, my sister who's in Australia. I called her, I told her my situation, and told her at this moment I don't know what I needed to do. I need to go for surgery. I don't know what I need to do. And she said, I say, you're trying to be back because if I'm hospitalized, it's going to, somebody has to look after mom and my brother and all that. And then I started writing down, what I need to do in my life, what I need to do, my plan. I need to plan my will, etc. So I started writing everything in detail over the week before my next MRI or CT scan. I think Tzu Chi, my journey in Tzu Chi has influenced a lot in my way of thinking. It certainly helps me to be more understanding look at my situation more kindly, with the right motives, right thoughts, and it certainly helped me to be more accommodating, to be able to accept anything. And with this kind of attitude, and I find that I'm more able to accept things. And so these spiritual soups of Tzu Chi did help me to accept my situation better. I've also reflected on the gratitude for the blessings I've had in this life. I've had wonderful, supportive parents in this life. I have a very harmonious family. I have very cohesive parents. I have a opportunity to travel to different parts of the world. I have a car to take me from A to B without worrying about the sun or the rain. I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. So I've had many blessings. But utmost important is that I have the good fortune to encounter the Buddha Dharma this life. And above all, also the affinity to be Tzu Chi, to able to practice Buddhism in action. So this is actually the most greatest blessing I can possibly ask for in this life. So with this kind of feeling of gratitude and gratefulness, it has injected a positivity into my life in these challenging circumstances. Another role of influence of Tzu Chi in my whole journey is that has given me a good opportunity to establish good affinities with different people. I've been involved in home visits, institutional visits, medical outreaches, free clinics, recycling, different types of activities. When I reflect on these, it's given an opportunity to establish good affinities with the patients, with the care recipients, with fellow volunteers. Another thing is making vows. When I first joined Tzu Chi, I was very apprehensive about making vows because I was so fearsome of not able to fulfill them. I was thinking, oh, if I can't fulfill my vow, it's going to create heavy karma. It's going to be really, really bad. But over time, I thought through. I felt it helps to strengthen my resolve to walk the Bodhisattva's path. As I made a vow to regain my health, to continue walking the Bodhisattva path, the rest of my life, and the life of the life as well. Just in 2015, when I was first commissioned, I came across a Dharma taught by a master, which influenced me a lot and which resonates in me until today. And these are the 4 phrases that she used. I don't have the Chinese characters, but somehow or other, these 4 phrases resonate with me until today. Great loving kindness is without regrets. Great compassion is without resentments. Great joy is without worries. And great equanimity is without expectations. And with that in my mind, I feel more at ease and at peace. It is my ardent wish that I'm able to see my mom and my brother to the end. The 3 of us have always been together for so many years, and we share the same, the same trait of life in the same compartment. But unfortunately, if the worst should happen, I need to do the compartment first. I'm able to accept it without resentment or bitterness because the gravity of my karma is such I need to. I'll accept it with peace. My sister has agreed to relocate to Malaysia. In fact, she said she had plans to spend retirement in Malaysia. And the children are all grown up and they're already working. And if I need to go, I don't feel so irresponsible in the sense that there's someone to look after my mother and brother if the worst should happen. Although I really, really hope that would happen, and I would be able to see them to the very end. And whatever the outcome is, I'm going to make peace with it and have no regrets or bitterness. And brothers and sisters, for my short sharing.
Cảm ơn Brother Calvin for the very inspiring sharing. I think we are all inspired by your courage, and we all wish you the best of health. And
I learned so much.
Your sharing, I think, is quite correspond to what Brother Joe shared just now. In that we Master shared with us her realization, her suffering in the wooden cabin, but we don't have to go through all this. But when we understand this suffering, then we'll know how to go on beyond. Yeah. So what I would like to say is that I apologize to express myself in Chinese. Okay. 当我们面对境界的时候 when we have to experience the suffering for ourselves, maybe we don't immediately, I mean, 我们不会直接，我们可能还会有一段时间会就是低落，就是我们可能会觉得，哎，为什么我做了这么多，还会面对这样子，然后为什么学了这么多佛法， 当下还是会沮丧，可是我们其实是人，这是很正常的。但是我觉得我们比较我们有一个优点，就是说之前我们累积的这些资粮，我们看到的苦，我们在潜意识下就是已经有为这些无常做了心理建设，所以我想我们的一个学习或者是一个优点，就是说，当我们面对这些无常的时候，我们会比人家更快的，就是转念。So brother, you actually accept this. I think within 1 week. Just now I remember you said after 1 week you went back to the hospital, and then the doctor was quite surprised by your calmness. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I felt from your sharing just now.
Yes.
So 我们就是我们学过了，然后我相信我是觉得我们要对佛法有信心了，就是过去学的一定都能够在我们未来遇到困难的时候都能够帮助我们，甚至是在此际里面遇到人事，我们可能当下也觉得，为什么人事这么的困难，这么多的一个磨难，可是可能当下会觉得跨不过去，可是在回顾过去所学的，我们很快就可以转念，就是跨越这样子。And so I wish everyone can walk well in the Bodhisattva path, and together we can walk this Bodhisattva path for very long. Yeah, thanks. Brother Joe, please help to 补充。
Okay. Thanks to Jing Quan, and thanks to Brother Calvin. Indeed, I think we all have you to thank for. Brother Calvin, thank you for, perhaps this is not how you want it, but being on this journey and being able to share with us that, just like what Brother help us prepare for whatever that might come that we don't know yet. And for you, because you have accumulated all these seeds or resources or preparation, unknowingly or knowingly, so you took one, and that week must be hell for you. And because of your sharing to us, perhaps we will take less suffering if we were to encounter the same. And that's what Brother Jing Kong was talking about. We all learn from each other. We all get this. And Master, it's just like today's story that you went through this for a week. So maybe we didn't have to go through this for a week if we experience it. And even if we didn't experience it, we hear from your first person account, and that allow us to go a little bit forward. Not as much as you move forward because we didn't experience it, but we move forward because we understand impermanence and gratitude just a little bit more. And I think that's why sharing is so important. And I think we all gain from this, and you gain the most. And I don't know what to say. It's hard for me to tell you that you gain the most, because obviously, it's hard. But from a position from our position, our perspective, you're at the forefront and you're right there. And I'm sure that there's so much that you feel more than you express in words. But what you have shared with us is already very powerful and strong. And I hope all of us, not only are we giving you the best wishes and best sincere wishes to get well, but I think the best wish that we could give you is the idea that we all learn and we can benefit from your sharing. That is the truest and most sincere offering, if you will, to you, and thanking to you that we really got something, the wisdom that we gained from your very short sharing today. And that's the true feedback. That's the true thing that we can give back to you. You know, there is nothing in the world that our, you know, kind words will somehow magically, and maybe it does, transform into good health. But I think for all the little bit of accumulated wisdom or insight that we got from you, that's the true giving back. Just like what Master has given us, right? She's telling us and teaching us so much. The only expectation, we can wish her good health and long life all we want, but that's still her karma that she's walking through. But the most important thing that she gets from us is if our wisdom is able to grow, then that's the most important. And so you as our teacher showing us, that's the same. I think that we could give you all the best wish for health that we can, and it's genuine and sincere. But the most important is if we truly learn something, then I think that will be the testimony of the importance of your wisdom that you brought for us. So thank you so much. That, you know, very, very deep and heartful, soulful sharing that you gave us today. I can't say that we're joyous, but I think that we have this Dharma feeling. It's all very touching us very deeply. So we do hope you a speedy recovery. And in this journey, you know, you do know that you have this entire family supporting you. We're here in Taiwan, but I'm sure the Dharma family in Malaysia are always going to be there. And you're always going to be, you know, the best well-being. Your well-being is always going to be in our prayers. So thank you, Brother Calvin. Thank you,
Brother Joe, and brothers, sisters.
感恩 Brother Joe, Brother Jing Guan, and Brother Calvin for today most insightful, very most heartfelt sharing. 感恩 Brother Calvin for being our teachers on these life lessons on impermanence. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your presence. Hope that each of us will sustain the Dharma lessons and Dharma joy and take in another piece of Dharma Master and Hualien love to our life. May we invite Brother Joe and Brother Jing Guan to lead us in paying homage. Let us please make 3 bows to the Buddha and Dharma Master as we depart to apply these teachings in our daily life. Let us pay our respects to our teachers of life universal truth. Palms together, first bow. Second bow. Third bow. Brothers and sisters, those who can stay back, there will be a wonderful half an hour session. Okay, I'll pass it to Sister Epi, who will be hosting today for this. Sister Epi.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning. Our best, our wishes and our prayers. Let's keep our prayers for Brother Calvin's speedy recovery. Yeah. Today we are extending this session to enable more brothers and sisters to share your insights, what you have gained or learned from the daily Xinfa. So now maybe invite brothers and sisters. The first one that I would like to invite, of course, may I invite this SisAiChu from US? You would like to share with us insights? Yeah, Kan En, thank you.
Are we sharing what we learn from our masters teaching every day? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Yes, we can hear you, sister.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. For our time, I listened to masters teaching about 2:20 to 3:20 in the afternoon in California. And I bring my computer screen, or iPhone screen that close to me, so I can see Master's facial expressions very, very well. I feel like Master is talking to me personally, and I feel so blessed to listen to her wisdom, and I can feel her compassion, especially when she talks about her disciples all over the world. She was happy with all the things they have done. And when she talked about people suffering in the world, and you can feel her feelings. I just want to say that I'm so grateful that we are so blessed to have this teacher and master to teach us, and to have so many wonderful brothers and sisters all over the world to practice what masters taught us and is teaching us. And also, hopefully we can all help to make our master's 3 wishes coming true, to make all people's hearts are pure, make all societies are harmonious, and make all worlds are disaster free. Thank you very much.
Ka'an SisAiChu for your wonderful sharing. This morning, this morning's sermon, we listened from what we heard from Master, and also from BroJoe, that caught my attention is that what can we offer? Like Master, what can we offer? What can we offer? What offerings can we make? I was also thinking of this for some days. What can I do in Tzu Chi? And how much can I do? Yesterday, Master was saying during yesterday's Shin Fa Xiang, we use our pair of hands to do either doing good or either doing bad. So it's all up to us, our choice, how we carry ourselves. So for myself, initially when I joined Tzu Chi, I'm not very, I do not agree with the bamboo bank because of my ignorance. And I find that I do not know how to make use of the bamboo bank until after my commissioning, I think in 2019, I start to realize the importance of bamboo bank because it transformed me, opening my heart wider and wider. What do I say that? I would like to share a little about this bamboo bank. Is that every day when I started to practice it diligently every day, I find that it no longer centered on myself, whatever I do. Because when I start to rediscover this amazing bamboo bank that had transformed me, every day when I put in some coins in, I will say something to the bamboo bank. In the beginning, when I hesitate to do that, because of my ignorance of not knowing much about Tzu Chi then, I will choose the smallest coin, that is a 5 cents or a 5 cent to put in, and my heart was always filled with reluctance. But after I rediscover the benefits of my transformation through the bamboo bank, which turned me, it's not so much about the money, it turns me, change my attitude, have openness, and more increase my level of consciousness, and turning my selfishness to non-self. So from there on, I continue to encourage people that I meet, especially my care recipients, to put in, to adopt the bamboo bank, to put some coins, or even if they don't have the money, they can put in a seed or something, a stone, But before doing that, say some words. Maybe in the beginning, I taught them some good wishes for your family, starting from your family first. So this is my sharing that don't underestimate the little bamboo bank, because this morning I heard BroJoe saying that how can we, what methods to do, or how to improve ourselves or carry ourselves when we encounter problems. I think the bamboo bank helps a lot if we diligently put in, because you can move away from yourself to a non-self. and have a spacious heart.感恩. I would like to invite other brothers and sisters here to share your thoughts and your joy or gains. Maybe we can invite Sister Sharon from Sydney. Cảm
ơn. Thank you for inviting me to share. I tie back to today's topic. Must say that encouraging us to experience suffering, and through suffering, we actually ask ourselves whether have we received the gift, have we attained wisdom, and how we offer ourselves to others, you know. And I just want to share my own story. Something big hit me in my life, and I went through suffering. And this ties back again to Brother Calvin's topic today on life is impermanence. 3.5 years ago, and I was diagnosed with blood cancer, leukemia. And I was at the urge of dying, basically, and because I was only given a chance of like 10% to live. And again, before I was diagnosed, like Brother Calvin said, I was just a very healthy mom. I exercised a lot, and I was doing lots of volunteering work with Tzu Chi, and was really happy. Never in my mind for a second I thought that something like this will hit me, and it did hit me. That big event just hit me. And from there, I went through a lot of pain and suffering. I bled nonstop, and I didn't even know whether I'll live or not. And my children, I have 4 children, and all of them were quite young. I mean, not young, like teenager, but not, at uni yet or so. Anyway, through the suffering and pain, miraculously, I made it through. I survived the whole journey. I even went through bone marrow transplant and so on. So from that journey of pain and suffering, I learned so much. I know what a patient's mind, when they went through suffering, I know what they were thinking, and I know how deep the pain is, and I know the fear. And from there, I asked myself, what can I do now? What can I offer? How do I offer myself to help others? So a few months after the bone marrow transplant, I approached my doctor to allow me to go back to the ward there to help others, leukemia patients who've gone through the same the journey, and maybe I can give them a bit of hope. So and from there, actually helping them was actually helping myself recovering faster and better. Because when I see what they're going through, and I tell myself, how grateful am I, how lucky am I to survive the whole journey, and what can I do to help ease their suffering. And some of them just really happy to see me being there, even though if I don't need to do any talking or anything, they just held my hands, because when they see me, they thought that, oh, it's a hope, if you made it, I can make it too. And that's what my doctor always tell them too. Sharon only got 10% of survival, you got 40%. So wake up, don't feel bad. You just have to keep fighting. You can't just, shut all the windows and waiting to die. It's not the way to go. You have to, you have to move forward. You use your mind. Your whole body are all connected, like what Brother Joe was teaching us last night. Your finger, you got even the fingers, keep growing. If your eyesight is not good and your fingernails is still keep growing, that doesn't mean that you are all happy. Your whole body is one cell. So we are one cell. So I told them, like, when I was so sick, I couldn't even hold a glass of water. I couldn't even walk 10 steps, and I fall. I was basically on tube fed the whole time, because I was only down to 30-something kilos. And at that time, and I told the patients as what I did for myself, I used my mind, because my mind is the only healthy part in my whole body. I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't hold a glass. But my brain was working 100%. And that's the only part in your body that is working so perfectly. And we have to use that part of our mind to tell ourselves that we could do it and control the whole body. And And on top of that, I also use this opportunity to share Jing with all the patients at the hospital. And because it's very powerful. So before I leave them after being their cancer companion, I always leave a Jing on the board, because we have a whiteboard in every room. And so, and I think that it's really, really, really tie back to what we learned. Master say, you have to walk through the journey. You feel the pain. So even though at the time I thought, like, why me? Why do I have to go through this journey of dying? But I think now that I think back, it's a gift. It's a gift. It gives me the opportunity to feel it so that I can go back and help others, because I know the pain. And it's very powerful. It's what even the hospital say, that not many people can do that, but you can do, because you come back after went through the journey. Of course, at first they also worried about me, like whether I could already walk through one journey, can I walk through other people's journey as well? So the hospital's been supportive. They give me a special psychologist to support me in case I need any support for myself after, seeing patients dying and so on. So I'm very grateful to share this with everyone, because I think we all can seize the opportunity in whatever way we see. We must look at it in a positive way, in a positive manner, that yes, this is an opportunity. This is not a bad thing at all. And just to, extend a little bit. Now from there, I formed this affinity with this hospital of mine. And because I've been being a cancer companion for them for the last few years. So during this COVID-19, I went back to this hospital, and with Tzu Chi, we went in there and donating masks to this hospital. So, and they were very grateful, because I already know them and so on. Because it's not easy to say you want to donate masks to the hospital, whether the hospital want to accept or not, because in Australia, it is very, very strict. They don't trust whether your mask actually work or not. So they have to go through a lot of testing. So anyway, we started off with this hospital. We donated masks to this hospital. And from this hospital, I approached the CEO to introduce us to other hospitals and so on. And from there, without realizing it, we donated 20,000 masks to 17 hospitals in Sydney itself. And again, from there, carry on. And we, one of the hospitals, we formed really good affinity with them. And we took this opportunity to prepare meals for vegetarian meals for the emergency department of the hospital. So today, while I'm sitting here in our kitchen here, there are 20 volunteers working tirelessly, no, more than 20, I would say, been preparing meals, because we are going to deliver these meals to the emergency department in our time. So like that, from one good deeds that we do, we can continue on, form the affinity and do more and more and more. And all I can see is that now, not only we promoting vegetarian foods, not only we providing, donating masks, we actually form really good affinities with everyone, and we can do more. I can only see we can do more and more. We started with this hospital, and I believe that we can continue promoting vegetarian food to all the other hospitals that we already have formed affinity. Thank you.
Kanan, Sister Sharon, for your very wonderful sharings, and on the medical side, I think it helps us a lot. Just now, just want to add on the bamboo bank that my story is that in the beginning, it's through the bamboo bank that eliminate our suspicions on others. Just now this morning, Brother Joe was saying, sometimes we are suspicious of people talking about us. Actually, through the act of putting in the coins into the bamboo bank every day, it will eliminate this thought, and it will move on. We will gain the wisdom of profound insight, meaning that it helps me. Last time I used to ask why this, why that, why this person, why no. Now I no longer, ever since I have been diligently putting in the coins into the bamboo bank, this kind of words does not enter into my mind anymore, no longer. So I'm very happy, and so that's why I want to share this wonderful little bamboo bank that gives so much strength to me. Now we shall invite SisKarPeng to have any insights for us this morning.
Yeah,
Brothers
and sisters, Oh, well, since your question yesterday, Sister Effie, about, how I react in difficult situations with difficult people, that it got me thinking and asked myself, have I really learned much, all these years from Master? Have I absorbed, some of her wisdom? And there are so many, yeah. So I decided, today perhaps I'll share on making vows, how I got through the hump, from fearing in making vows, because to me, making vows is such a big thing, right? And what if I cannot deliver, those vows? And an example that I want to share with you is, when we were building Tzu Chi International School here, I was roped in as one of the 3 fundraising committee members, together with Sister Subi and Brother Qifeng. And then we had the honor of having Sister from Taiwan here, and she shared and she talked about making vows. And when she got everybody to make vows, and I'm sure many of you remember, how many Xinglian, that is Sister Atao. And I wasn't there at that point in time. I thought I missed that, and I was happy that I don't have to make vows in, delivering all these, Xinglian. But Sister Sylvie never let me off the hook. She called me and she said, everyone is making vows and you are. I was traveling. And what about you? How many, Xinglian you vowed to achieve? And before I could even answer her, she said, okay, 1 million ringgit, which is 1,000 Xinglian. I said, wow, that's a lot. And she said, look, you have already done half of it. So it is not difficult to get the other half. I mean, half is another 500,000 ringgit. And I said, okay, I accepted that. And I was, then I started calling more people and all that. And I achieved that, 1,000 Xinglian in, a couple of months. But the point is that despite, achieving that, we were still far away from the sum that we need to achieve, which is, 180, 190 million ringgit. And at that point, we probably were only about 30 to 40 million ringgit there. And I basically, told myself, oh, it's a big vow to make to reach 180 million, and I didn't dare to. But during our groundbreaking, I was so touched and so emotional when I saw children doing sign language. In fact, throughout the whole ceremony, it was so solemn. And before I knew it, I made a vow to the children while they were performing, that no matter what, I will make sure that, Tzu Chi International School will be completed in time for all of you. And when that came out, I was shocked by the vow that I just made, but it was as easy as that. It wasn't like, so difficult, so, scary, but I made that vow. And I'm glad that, I had so many people helping to realize that vow. And it was just not my own. It's actually with a lot of people vowing to do the same. And when Brother Qifeng one evening sent me a video of, the completed school, the classroom and all that, and I just broke down, because that was the day that I was waiting for. There was so much joy, and there was this great emotion that went through me. And within, as I was going through, and 3 minutes after that, there was this poem that came into my head, and I wrote it down very quickly. And that was the Dharma joy that I felt when I saw that video. And I would like, to play that for you, because it was my way of saying thank you to everybody who have chipped in to make SisKL a reality for our children. So if Sister Tzu Chi, can you help me with that?
This is dedicated to everyone who has joined hands with us on this journey of hope. Driven by a mission and led by a vision, building dreams, giving hopes, a world for all. Cent by cent, dollar by dollar, gathering love and blessings from all. Brick by brick, step by step, together we build a future for all. Day by day, little by little, we stand in awe. Gaining strength is a love for all. Standing tall is Tzu Chi International School, Kuala Lumpur, a place of hope for all. SisKL, the school where the future is made for all.
感恩 SisKarPeng for your this sharing. How should I say it? I think is your biggest. Master was saying that how to make offerings. I think SisKarPeng's journey in helping to lead and build to solicit funds for the building of the Tzu Chi International School. This one can be will be a legacy, and we can be, like Master says, that it can be for generations and generations. The building will remain there. So this is also living the footprints of Tzu Chi, and感恩 to SisKarPeng's effort and great love in leading us. We have a special request here from Sister Wong Lee Chu, who would like to share something here. She made a special request here. May we invite Sister Wong Lee Chu? You have something to say?
Yeah. Okay, good morning, brother and sister. Kandan, Sister Effie. I know the time is very short for me. I can talk very fast. I hope everyone can catch what I'm trying to share. Okay, I'm trying to share something on Brother Calvin. Okay, Kandan to Brother Calvin. I'm the co-tuifu for group Gen Z group 86. There was this diligence day on the 5th of July. I actually sent out the reminder for all the volunteers from group 86, and Brother Calvin has diligently called one by one, even WhatsApp and call one by one the group members to encourage them to attend the diligence day on the 5th of July. I think that is a very diligence of Brother Calvin, even on his conditions he need to rest and all that, but he has got this motivation for me to encourage others to carry on the Tzu Chi path. Okay, Kanan to Brother Calvin for motivating for all of us. Okay, Kanan. Okay.
SisAiChu.
SisAiChu, for your sharing, and Brother Calvin. Yes, as we walk the Bodhisattva path, Master always remind us to look behind and get more people to walk along with us. So this is what we in Tzu Chi, everyone of us are practicing it. Kanan. This is another reminder to us again today. Now may we invite Brother Andrew from Singapore. Brother Andrew, do you want to share anything here? Andrew Lim.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Yes.
Morning. Yeah.
Kanan, Sister Effie, sorry I wasn't prepared. Okay, but as usual, I'm very, very touched by all the sharings from our brothers and sisters. Always very inspired by our KL and Malaysian brothers and sisters, and for their diligence and their application of Dharma in their daily life and taking in Master's Dharma into their heart. And today is so wonderful that we can hear SisAiChu from California and SisSharon from Sydney. Wow, this is truly like we are all in the clouds, and it's truly wonderful to be all together in this platform and where we can share with each other. So just share with just a little sharing with everyone that in this walking this path of Bodhisattva path really requires a lot of 助缘, that means contributing factors, factors that could help us and push us along this path. So I'm very grateful that we have this kind of environment where we are not cultivating just by ourselves, not on solitude as a solitude cultivator, but really we are working together as a team, and where we have so many of us, all the brothers and sisters of Dharma family, we are all moving in the same direction, led by our beloved Master. So this environment is truly it's a wonderful blessings that I want to cherish and hope to leverage on, and that could also push me to move along this path. And also I hope to bring in more and more people to join us together, because there are so much things to do, and there are so much sufferings in this world, and with this pandemic is really that it's creating even more. So all this collective karmas requires even more positivity in this world for us to alleviate and transform the karma into hope and a brighter future for for our children, and as well as for us when we come back to return to this world again. And very grateful that to know our KL sisters, especially Sister Tzu Chi, Sister Effie, Sister Lily, Sister Suisan, because we are all in the same team of doing the translation for the Kaohsiung book study session every Wednesday morning. So yeah, it's truly grateful. So seize every opportunity. Whenever an opportunity that come across, that present itself for me in Tzu Chi, I will always try to find ways to grab it rather than to let it pass. Because if it's passed, I do not know when it's going to come again. So yeah, so seize every opportunity. Whatever we can do, let's do it. And do it with a grateful heart, do it with a joyous heart, with a broad heart, and with a heart that we are doing this for the for the spiritual growth of ourselves and for the benefits of others. So this is just my little sharing. Sorry for the impromptu and unpreparedness. Kanan, Sister Effie, wonderful to hear from so many great bodhisattvas out there. Yeah, really, Kanan. overview.
Kan En's brother Andrew, actually this session is supposed to be impromptu. Kan, maybe now we are 8:31. Maybe we can have another 4 minutes. Maybe invite again Sister Stephanie. You have anything to say? Anything to share?
Kan En very much, Sister Effie. I'm just very overwhelmed by the whole session from morning until now. So there are many other brothers and sisters from overseas. I think I would like to hear from them more, Kan En.
Kan En, Sister Stephanie, our session is supposed to end at 8:30, is it, Sister Tzu Chi? Or can we extend another 5 minutes?
Because I think we have to rest.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. We will have another session next Saturday.
Yes, next Saturday.
BroJoe.
So we will seize the time and the affinity to do good, to continue to walk this Bodhisattva path, as well as according to Master's teaching, we should be work diligently. Okay, I'll pass back this platform to BroJoe, is it?
Yeah, BroJoe, Kan En.
Yeah, Kan En, BroJoe.
Okay, time is really going flying by, but we really enjoy everybody sharing, and thanks to all. That's what exactly Dharma is. It binds us together, regardless of whether you were sick before or coming back with more health or whatever journey you go through. That's how we're connected, and that's what Dharma really is, and that's how we, when we realize that we are connected, that's when Dharma is right in front of us. It has been in front of us all this time, but we realize it now, and that's what binds us together. So thank you all. This is always very good addition toward the end to bring us the joy and to start now that we're going into the people, a bunch of people that really get us, afflicted. And now we are ready with all the Dharma to confront all these things. So we're ready and let's go. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.
And then Brother Joe. And Kan En, all the brothers and sisters, thank you for staying on with us today. Kan En, we shall meet next week, next Saturday. Kan En, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Kan En.
Kan En so much. Kan En so much.
Bye-bye.
Sister Sharon.
Bye-bye.
BroJoe, everybody.